Hey there, movie lovers. Welcome to Story Recap. The movie starts in 1945, towards the conclusion of World War II, when a plane suffers a malfunction and has to land. Pilot Koichi Shikishima touches down on Odo Island. Upon reaching Odo Island, he approaches senior mechanic Sosaku Tachibana, instructing him to repair the aircraft. After a thorough examination, Sosaku reports, "We've checked every part of your rig and found nothing wrong." Koichi, sharply asking, "What are you implying?" storms off in frustration. Later that night, an emergency alarm blares, alarming the team. They spot Godzilla advancing towards them. Fear grips the crew as they witness the gigantic beast. Panicking, they flee to a bunker, arming themselves with their guns. Sosaku proposes using their machine gun against Godzilla. He insists Koichi should do it. Koichi sneaks into the cockpit, grabs the weapon, but paralyzed by fear, is unable to fire a shot. Consequently, other soldiers begin shooting at Godzilla with their smaller weapons, infuriating the creature. Godzilla proceeds, crushing them effortlessly. Seeing Godzilla approach, Koichi exits the plane just as Godzilla seizes it in its jaws and throws it to the ground, causing an explosion. The blast renders Koichi unconscious. Upon waking the next morning, Koichi is confronted with the gruesome sight of his team's bodies scattered on the ground. Sosaku, who survived the attack, is seen gathering the corpses. When he sees Koichi, he angrily blames him for the disaster. Overwhelmed with grief and remorse, Koichi mourns his lost teammates. Later, he and the surviving soldiers are transported back to Tokyo. Returning home, Koichi finds everything devastated by the bombing in Tokyo. There, he encounters his neighbor Sumiko Ota, who is mourning the death of her son in the bombing. Koichi inquires about her parents, but Sumiko reveals they were all killed in the attack. She walks away, lamenting their misfortune. As Koichi continues, he witnesses police pursuing a woman named Noriko Oishi, who is carrying a baby. Noriko runs into Koichi and entrusts the baby to him before fleeing. Further down the street, he encounters Noriko again. Koichi returns the baby to her and continues on his path. Noriko, pleading not to be abandoned, follows him. That night, they arrive at Koichi's home. Noriko reveals she is alone in the world and that the baby's mother asked her to care for the child if anything happened to her. Touched by her story, Koichi asks the baby's name, and Noriko replies it is Akiko. They begin living together as a family. Their lives proceed in this manner for a year. One day, Koichi informs Noriko that he has received an offer for a government job. He explains that he must locate and disarm underwater mines planted on the ocean floor during World War II. Noriko expresses concern about the risks involved. Koichi acknowledges the danger, but explains that the job offers good pay. He says, they could use the money to improve their lives and make Akiko's future better. He reassures Noriko that the government is providing advanced weapons and boats. The next day at work, Koichi discovers the government's deceit. They had provided outdated equipment instead of the promised advanced tools. There, Koichi meets former naval engineer Kenji Noda and the rest of the Minesweeper crew. Noda, who is in charge of the mission, briefs them on the boat. While exploring the ocean, crew member Seiji Akitsu attempts to locate and target some underwater mines. His shots miss repeatedly. Koichi, seeing Akitsu's failure, asks if he can try. When Koichi takes aim, he easily destroys the mine. Noda is impressed by his skill. As time passes, Koichi and his crew successfully neutralize many underwater mines. Koichi lives happily with Noriko and Akiko, and they build a house where Koichi brings his entire crew. Noriko cooks for everyone, and they praise her cooking, calling her sister-in-law. Noriko clarifies that she is not Koichi's wife. Koichi explains that Noriko is living with him after the Tokyo bombing, since she had no one else, and that Akiko is not their biological daughter. The next day, when Koichi returns home from work, Noriko informs him that she has secured a desk job in Ginza and will soon be independent. Koichi asks how she will manage Akiko's care while working, and Noriko replies that Sumiko has agreed to look after her, claiming she has experience with raising 3 children. Koichi agrees to this arrangement. Meanwhile, the crew discovers a destroyed ship in the ocean, clearly attacked by Godzilla. Shocked by the extensive damage, they wonder what kind of enormous creature could cause this. Koichi explains that it was Godzilla's work, citing dead fish in the water as evidence. He recounts how Godzilla kills marine life and causes carcasses to float before surfacing. Koichi had seen this before on Odo Island. Suddenly, many dead fish float around the ship. Koichi, terrified, realizes that Godzilla is approaching and urges everyone to escape quickly. Godzilla emerges from the water and they speed up their boat. Koichi and Noda throw a large bomb into the water, but it fails to harm Godzilla's impenetrable body. Godzilla lunges forward, opening his mouth threateningly. The crew throws another bomb, but the detonator wire disconnects before it can explode. Koichi climbs to the deck and shoots Godzilla in the mouth with a machine gun, causing an explosion and damaging part of Godzilla's mouth. Godzilla quickly regenerates and pursues them. He rises to attack, but before he can, a Japanese army ship arrives and launches an assault on Godzilla. This angers Godzilla, who dives under the ship and flips it over. Despite this, the Japanese ship continues firing at him, wounding Godzilla, who then retreats into the water. From beneath the waves, Godzilla unleashes an atomic heat ray that destroys the army ship. After the explosion, Godzilla roars and returns to the depths. Godzilla's new nickname among the crew, the giant reptilian party pooper. Koichi, severely injured in the attack, loses consciousness. When he regains awareness at home, Noriko is deeply concerned about his injuries. Koichi blames himself, saying that due to his mistake in 1945 on Odo Island, his entire team perished. He had a chance to kill Godzilla with a machine gun, but was paralyzed by fear. This led to Godzilla killing his entire team. Noriko comforts him, saying that fate is unavoidable. Koichi responds that he is haunted by these memories and wishes he had died with his team on Odo Island. Noriko assures him that if he is alive, his life must have a significant purpose. Meanwhile, Koichi is at home with Akiko when the emergency alarm sounds. The radio announces Godzilla's attack on Ginza. Worried for Noriko, who is in Ginza for work, Koichi is frantic. In Ginza, Godzilla rampages through the streets, demolishing everything. Noriko, on a train, witnesses Godzilla picking up the entire train in his jaws. He crushes a carriage with her inside, forcing her to jump into the water for safety. Later, Koichi joins Noriko as they flee with a crowd. Godzilla pursues them. The army attacks Godzilla with tanks, intensifying his fury. Godzilla emits blue light from his back, then unleashes an atomic heat ray that causes explosions, killing people and destroying buildings. To save Koichi, Noriko pushes him out of the way and sacrifices herself. When Koichi emerges from the rubble, he sees the devastation and realizes Noriko is gone. Overwhelmed by grief, he sobs uncontrollably. Fueled by anger and a thirst for revenge, he screams at Godzilla, "If you think you're going to get away with this, you've got another thing coming, big guy." Returning home, Koichi mourns Noriko and prays for her. Noda arrives and informs him that the government has selected their crew to stop Godzilla. Noda reveals a plan to defeat Godzilla, which involves sinking him to a depth of 1,500 meters, where the pressure will crush him. They will surround Godzilla with Freon tanks to reduce buoyancy, and if that fails, inflate balloons to force him back to the surface, killing him through explosive decompression. Hata, captain of Yukikaze, supports the plan, stating that Godzilla has caused too much destruction and must be stopped. Noda tells Koichi they need a plane equipped with weapons to lure Godzilla. Koichi mentions his friend Sasaku, a mechanic who could help. Koichi finds Sasaku, who still blames him for the Odo Island tragedy. Koichi admits his mistake and asks Sasaku to help kill Godzilla. Sasaku agrees, and they begin preparing the plane. Sasaku gets to work, while Noda gathers weapons and gas cylinders. In a few days, the plane is ready, and the ships set out to sea. Koichi flies his plane, emitting sound waves to lure Godzilla. Godzilla follows and is led back to the main location. Noda tells the crew to get ready. With Koichi and Godzilla approaching, the ships encircle Godzilla with cylinders and activate them. Godzilla is dragged to 1,500 meters, but does not perish. Plan B is enacted with balloons inflating under Godzilla, pushing him to 800 meters. Godzilla, still alive, prepares to retaliate. Koichi, desperate, fires a torpedo at Godzilla's head. With an explosion, Godzilla's headless body, glowing blue, disintegrates and falls into the ocean. Upon returning to base, Koichi is welcomed with cheers for defeating Godzilla. He receives a telegram from Sumiko and hurries to the hospital, where he reunites with the miraculously surviving Noriko. Meanwhile, deep in the ocean, a piece of Godzilla's scale starts to glow and transform into something new. Looks like Godzilla's comeback might be as surprising as finding a dinosaur in your backyard. Thanks for tuning in to Story Recap. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more quick movie summaries and reviews. Got a film you want us to cover next? Drop it in the comments below. Until next time, keep watching and keep recapping.